Hey guys, welcome back. Part number 6 of my Heinkel 111 build. Today we're going to work on the decals and then get weathering. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start with decals. Now, my process here is the same as all my other build videos pretty much for the past couple of years, and I'm very conscious of the fact that I want to create good content and not repetition. So I'm not going to spend hours going through how I do decals. I'm just going to run through one real quick, and then afterwards talk about any problems I had and kind of talk you through the finished kind of product. Because again, I just don't want to keep repeating myself every build series. So the process hasn't really changed much. I've made one slight tweak, which we'll talk about. But I think with model making, if there's products or a system or a way of doing things that works for you, just stick with it. There's no point changing it, right? And same for me. So with decals, I am a fan of the micro scale industries, sole and set. Now, traditionally, I've been putting set down first and then coming back with a sole. Now, sole does a great job, but I've started using water instead of set, and I've seen no difference. So for me, I'm going to stop using this for now. I don't think I get any kind of benefit from this, but definitely use the sole. So the sole is what helps kind of suck the decal down and bed it in. This one helps lay it down, but again, for me, like warm water just does the same thing. So I'm going to bypass this for today. As always, we're going to use the amazing Tamiya decal tweezers, my #1 tool probably, absolutely amazing. If you don't have any, you've got to go out and buy them. They can just pick up these things, move them around so much easier, and you definitely need a pair. They will be a life changer. And as always, some hot water. I put this in the microwave for 15 seconds. Just tap water, microwave for 15 seconds, and I find it gets me to the perfect temperature. I do have a coffee warmer, one of these guys, and it's a cheap one from Amazon, and I'm not going to use it today, but if you put that on, it keeps the water at perfect temperature for my decaling session. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by putting one on the iron cross here on the wing, just to kind of show you, and then we'll kind of offline, I'll move along and do the rest. So one of my good tips, which I'm actually not going to follow this time around, is always start with, if you're starting with a new manufacturer or new decals, always do one that's just kind of not visible, like a small decal somewhere hidden away, so if it goes horribly wrong, you're good to go. I'm not going that principle, I'm going to slap one right on the wing here, so hopefully it works. But I've never done an ICM kit before, so I have no idea how these decals are, how quickly they're going to work, that kind of stuff. But anyway, so here we go. So I'm just going to dip it in my water, literally for a couple seconds, shake off the extra, throw it on my rubber cutting mat here, and just let it sit. In the meantime, I'm just going to take my brush. I got a special brush just for decals, and I'm just going to, using my instructions, I'm going to kind of figure out where this guy's going to go. So it looks like it goes 1, 2, 3. Looks like it goes, there's 4 into the 4th panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it starts here. So that kind of little water kind of marks on where it's going to go. Again, I'm just going to check my markings. 2, 3, and a 4th one. 1, 2, 3, and a 4th one. Yep. So doing this for 2 reasons. Firstly, it gives me a little visual kind of clue where to place this thing. And secondly, it's going to help maneuver this around. If it's completely dry, this thing's just going to stick and it's going to be hard to move around. We've got some water under it. You've got some time to work it and get it lined up. So it gives you kind of some working time. Now this one's still pretty solid, so I'm going to dip it in the water one more time. Again, I've not used these decals before, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. So yeah, so before, typically I use this stuff, the blue micro set. Let's say now I'm just using like warm water, and I find it just does the same thing pretty much. Plus, it's obviously water is no chemicals, whereas this has some kind of mild acid in it, so you're not going to worry about damaging paintwork and stuff. Now, this paintwork is perfectly smooth. As you know, I polished it down and get it all worn down with a sponge. If it's a little bit rough, you might want to put a clear coat down just to kind of, well, firstly protect your paint, and secondly to create that smooth surface to put the decal on to prevent silvering. Okay, this is starting to come loose a little bit. I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds just to fully kind of loosen up. Okay, and let's place it. So it's going to go, the panel line's here, and it's going to go roughly about there. And again, I'm just kind of looking, lining this guy up, seeing how it goes. I think right about that. So actually looks like the middle of the power line runs through the middle of the iron cross. And it's already starting to stick down. If you've need some more time to work with it, just add a little bit more water. Because once this thing dries, it's going to stick down. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with how that is. So that's kind of the spot where I want it. And so I'm going to come back with a Q-tip, and I'm going to hold the decal with a finger so it doesn't move, and just wipe away the excess water. Also kind of smooth it out, get rid of any lumps, that kind of stuff. Not that there are any. Cool. And there we go. So that is it. I'm then going to let that sit for about 20-30 minutes to fully kind of bed down and dry, and then we'll come back and add a little coat of microsole. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes, so I'm coming back with my microsole. There's other versions. I know Guns does one, Mr. Hobby. Tamiya does a Mark Fit. For me, that doesn't really work. This is oldest and the best, works for me. I've been using this for years, and no problems at all. Although these bottles, you're guaranteed to knock them over every few weeks or so. So I'm dip my brush in, and I'm just going to rub it over the decal. Again, you don't want to put tons of stuff on here because it might damage the paintwork, especially if not put a clear coat on. So just nice thin coat, and that's it, and just leave it. I mean, it's going to help conform around kind of curved edges or raised parts, that kind of stuff. This is just a flat wing, so what it's going to do is it's going to suck it down, and hopefully all those rivets recreated and panel lines below it, you're going to see through it. It's going to look painted on the surface. So again, these decals look at them again. Actually, not too bad. I think it's a little bit thick, but I think they'll be okay. So we'll see how it goes. So that's one. Exactly, that's how you do it. Obviously, you can do a few at a time. You know, certain areas of the aircraft, and you obviously do all this at once. I just did one to show you. So I'm going to work my way around the aircraft. I've got a whole sheet right here to work with. Although a lot of these things, like these ones, aren't appropriate to my one I'm doing. This is for version 2, I believe. I'm doing version 4, the Russian one, the Russian conflict. This is for, let me see, version 2 is France 1940. So cool. All right, so we're looking good. I'm just going to leave this one and then work my way around, do the other ones, and I'll come back when I'm finished and show you kind of how we ended up looking. All right, so we're done with the decals. They're on a little bit thick. They went down okay, but very thick. And like even with, I pulled out Sulfur Set, which is kind of like my alien blood stuff, and it still can't see the panel lines for it. They're very thick, but nevertheless they're on. See the side there, and there's a couple of like ones on the bottom here. Little guys and various stuff. Now you see the problem is it's got this bulge with like a gun sticking out, and so I have to put it in the middle of a masking tape here so I don't kind of break it. Something like that, right? So yeah, a little bit thick, but it went down nevertheless. And I gave it a clear coat, so it's very shiny right now because I give it a lacquer gloss coat of LP9 Tamiya, my go-to. You see me use this all the time. I get through jars of this stuff. Great clear coat, and yeah, so I put a gloss down because we're going to start the weathering now. And when it comes to panel line washes, you want a gloss so you can just, when you wipe it off, you're just going to leave just it in the panel lines and not nowhere else. So I'm going to use, as always, I'm going to use the Flory Models Dark Dirt Wash. There are other brands available, but this is what I have and what I've been using lately. I'm just a little concerned here. I poured some little jar. It's very similar color to the airframe, so I'm going to do a test area, and if you can't see this at all, we might need to mix it with a different color, maybe with a gray or something. But we'll give it a little bit shot, a little bit area, and we'll see how it's looking. So real simple, just pour it into a little plastic shot glass here, disposable cup, and we're just going to literally just brush it on, and we'll do the engine wing here. Okay, like that. So Let's do a little bit more actually. I'm doing a test area because again I want to check the color. I'm just concerned it's very similar color to what the paint we've done on the aircraft. So there's no point doing it if we're not going to see it. We might need to mix colors up a little bit. So yeah, so put it on, simple as that. Leave it for 20-30 minutes for it to dry. We'll come back with a paper towel, wipe it off, and we'll see how we look. If we can see it, the pound lines, and look okay, we'll continue with the rest of the aircraft. If we can't really see them, then we're just going to mix it with some other colors and get like a better shade so we can actually see, see what's going on here. Otherwise it's pointless doing it if you can't see the pound lines, right? Cool. All right, so let it's dry and we'll come right back. All right, let's see how we're looking. So it's been about 20 minutes and off the bat, it looks very similar color. A bit of paper towel. We'll just wipe this off and see how we're going here. And yeah, it's too close in color. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a different blend. Let's add some light, which is basically white, and lighten this up. There's two ways you go dark or light. I don't want to go too dark on this. So I'll drop a white and see how we're looking. Okay. Cool. So just threw it back on again, lighted it off, and we'll see. We might thinking about maybe try grey if that doesn't work, but it's definitely going to work on the other side, no problem at all with the blue. Just on this top, I'm not sure. So again, give it 20 minutes, come back and see if this is any better. In fact, you know what? Let's just do grey on a different part, and we just compare them, right? So and let's just do the other wing. Grey's normally a great color for black or like that dark blue, like the US Pacific kind of World War II kind of blue. All right, so we've got grey on that side. We've got the kind of kind of dark dirt, whitened up on that side, and we'll come back. We'll do both, and we'll kind of figure out which we want to go with. All right, been 20 minutes or so. Let's see how we're looking. So this is the grey side. That's actually looking pretty good. Now, all those rivets we did, you don't see any of them, so that was a complete waste of time. Well, you got one line on them. Okay, let's take a look on this side. This is a winner, I think. Grey. And dark side. So we're not going to waste this, so we'll use the dark on the underside. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting the camera mount. This will look fine on the underside with the bluey grey, and on the dark side we'll use the grey, just because you can see a little bit better, I think. Cool, so let me go ahead and just do the whole aircraft and come back, and then I'll kind of show you where we're at. Okay, so the wash has been put on, been removed, and we've given it a nice flat coat to kind of dull it down. So you see here, it's created the grey we used on top, and on the underside, I think the panel washes work much better on lighter colours, and obviously here you can see it's very much more prominent. But one thing to note too is you can barely see any of those rivets. So you can see a few here and there, but on the wing, maybe at the end, but generally it's probably a waste of time. I wouldn't bother doing it next time. Like I find, for me personally, anything less than a millimeter just doesn't really show up that great. And 1 mil is kind of the sweet spot where you can kind of see the rivets. So, yep, give it a flat coat. You used to use XF86 Tamiya, but last few weeks I'm having trouble with that. I'm not sure if it's I got a bad batch or what, but I just can't get it matte as I like it. So I brought out the old guns dull coat from Testers. I'm not sure if you can buy this anymore, but just this stuff works pretty good. Hose it on, high air pressure, and get that nice flat finish. And I couldn't help myself. So that's obviously our last clear coat for the model. And I couldn't help myself, so I had to take a few windows off just to see how we're looking at the front there. A few masks off the window, should I say. And looking pretty good. So I'm excited to get all that glass work visible and get all those masks off, but obviously we need to wait a little bit more. Came back with a sponge, did a few little chips, metal chips around the edge of the wings, and on the props I did as well. And pretty good. So you can stop there, but we're going to take it one little step further, and we're going to add, as always, add a little bit of oil, neat oils to kind of weather this down a little bit, pick some power lines out. So gone for this a million times. Again, as I mentioned with the decals, I'm just going to do a quick overview and carry on off camera because I've done a gazillion videos on this. So we're going to use a dark color because we've got obviously dark paint work. So rather than using Starship Filth, I'm going with Smoke, which is one of my favorite colors. So just going to open this up, and we just need a tiny little piece. Just cleaning off the lid. Screw this guy back up, and that's more than enough. So this stuff lasts a long time. In addition, we're going to need some enamel thinners. This happens to be 502 as well. Just going to put a little bit in the lid. And my brushes I use specially for my oil paints. Now I finally threw away the one I used to apply it that had been given up the ghost. So I just used an old brush. I don't want to use my favorite, best brushes for this. So it's just some old random kind of brush from the dollar store or something, and I'm going to use this to apply the oil to the aircraft. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of my brush, almost like a dry brushing, take away the excess, and we're going to pick out certain power lines. So let's go with this guy right here. Actually, paint on my brush. Basically just drawing the lines. And then with another brush, this is a stiff brush, I'm just going to blend it in. So we'll start with this guy. And it's a little too heavy, so I applied a little bit of thinners, and again I'm just going to blend it in. Okay, now I'm just going to apply one long line on here. And you do want a flat coat on this because if you put a gloss coat on, it's going to wipe right off. So you need something to grip it to, for it to grip to. Like that, and that's as far as I'm going to go on that wing. So I don't go too crazy. I'm just going to pick out certain areas around the aircraft on the fuselage and basically repeat that same step. So just let oil kind of blend it all in, and it'll take probably about 5 days to go off completely, but you probably touch it within like 24 hours. So let me go ahead and work around the rest of the aircraft, and we'll see how we look. I am thinking though this color might be a little bit too dark, but I'll keep going. And the beauty of these oils are, if you don't like what you put down, a little bit of enamel thinners wipes right off, and you go again with a different color or a different type. So yeah, there we go. Let me carry on, and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm done. Just went around it real quick for like 20 minutes and just picked out a few pound lines, and hopefully seen on the camera here. Just a few. That's a little bit of tonal and visual difference there. And on the underside, again, it's a little bit tricky to hold. It looks a little bit better on the grey, I think, on the grey blue on the bottom. But again, just picking out certain areas and just there we go. So we're pretty much done now with weathering on this. It's kind of where I like it. I don't like doing shiny. I like kind of beat it up a little bit, and with this dark kind of greeny black colors, it's kind of a little bit more tricky to kind of weather it in. The old does look a little bit kind of bright, kind of dark, or in your face, but it will kind of over the next few days it will kind of mellow out as it dries. But that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching as always. I'll be back next week to wrap this thing up and do the final reveal. So have a great weekend. See you later. Goodbye.